Well, Rylie was diagnosed with leukemia in April of 2012, and she was 6 years old at the time and in kindergarten. She had a string of illnesses going on preceding the actual diagnosis, pneumonia, various colds and viruses, and I just kind of thought it was, typical illnesses, a harsh winter, allergies acting up. And then she came home covered in bruises one day, and she couldn't explain them, and I couldn't explain them. And so the little warning flag started going off. I grew more concerned at that point. And a few days later, I went to check on her at night, and she was just burning up with fever, and she was breathing very rapid, very shallow. So at that moment, my training as a nurse kicked in, and things just started firing in my head, and I went straight to the computer and I Googled leukemia. And it was going through that checklist, and that gut instinct told me that possibly that was what was going on, but of course in that moment of you can't be this overreactive crazy mother kicked in. So the next day we went to her pediatrician and they ran blood work, and a few hours later we found ourselves on an ambulance going to Seattle Children's, where she started her treatment. And since then, she has been in treatment continuously, and she's had over 600 doses of chemotherapy and 12 rounds of cranial radiation and tons of other procedures like MRIs and CAT scans, lumbar punctures, bone marrow aspirates. And she's still not done. She has a few months left. She'll be done in June, so we have 4 months left before we're done with chemo. But we know that the journey for her illness doesn't end at the end of treatment. The drugs that they use to treat the leukemia are very toxic, and they have lasting effects, and they're all over 25 years old. We don't have any new drugs to treat these kids, and because we've been able to track how the survivors do, we know that these kids suffer heart damage, multi-organ failure, cognitive issues, learning difficulties, and some kids unfortunately have a secondary cancer later on down the road. So we value the time and effort that you guys put in, because we know that it's important that we find better treatments that are less harmful to our kids. So that is our mission through you guys, is to raise funds and awareness so we have better treatments.